Hello and welcome to another video where we are getting into the phases and stages of awakening. So in today's video, we are going to get into the phase where it's realizing oneness. We'll get into it. My name is Devon. I help people navigate their spiritual awakening journey and embody their divine self as much as possible. All right. So, what is realizing oneness? This is coming into the awareness that source, creator, spirit, the divine, universe, whatever you want to term it, is in everything. So, this is coming to the awareness that that divine spark in me is also in you, and we are part of a whole. It's really coming to that level of awareness of like there's different ways to kind of term it or to put it into human words, but it's really an experience. It's looking at a tree and seeing the source creator within the tree, and then understanding that the source creator that's within you is the same that's within that tree. And so it's coming to this beautiful understanding and awareness of like we're all a part of the same creator source living different experiences. But at the core, we're all a spark of the same energy. Hopefully that makes sense. um this can also there's a thing that can happen during this phase, and it's called being blissed out. So being blissed out is where you're completely ungrounded in the physical, but you are launching to other dimensions and levels of awareness and experiences that are just it's really difficult to put it into human terms. This is when maybe you are semi-consciously experiencing things that are beyond the fifth dimension that are just again, it's really difficult to put it into words. It's an experience thing that happens, and it's beautiful. It's such a fun thing to experience. It really is. Because this is when, for me, this is when I had this beautiful understanding and awareness that everything it was just perfectly, amazingly, awesomely, divinely orchestrated. And, we're free will beings in a free will universe having such a wonderful experience. And yeah, sure, there's oppressive shit in place and so on and so forth. But when you ascend beyond that in your level of awareness and understanding, it's like it doesn't matter, but it does. It's a really interesting thing to try to explain. When I was going through this phase, I was completely and utterly blissed out. I would highly recommend if you're going through this phase, allow yourself to experience what you're experiencing, and also remember the goal is to bring that energy and that awareness down into the physical so that you can operate from a different level of awareness in the physical form. Something that can happen, and I'm going to touch on it lightly, something that can happen during this phase as well, or that can accompany it, maybe precede it, or it can come before or after this phase or during. But it's also this feeling of being homesick for a home that isn't Earth. And I could do a whole other video on this. Maybe I will. We'll see. If you're interested, let me know. But it's this longing for it's a homesick feeling that is at a soul level. And this is when we start to tap into our multidimensional self, and really consciously tapping into a part of the self that has had so many experiences. This can be where you really come to this understanding and the awareness that your soul didn't really start in this incarnation. This is when we can really get into this understanding of different star systems, different galactic beings, um, and understanding that we as a soul have had experiences on other planetary systems. Um, and so what can also kind of accompany this is this blissed out feeling with also this feeling of longing for something that isn't earthbound. And so the thing is to understand that you are here in this physical form. You got your earth ticket to experience earth at this time, and it is a coveted ticket. And you got the ticket to be here on earth at this time to experience this, and it's really cool. You get to be a part of this. So bring that energy and that awareness down into the body, ground it into the earth, because that's really what you came here to do. You can tap into those other experiences. You can tap into the other realms and the other dimensions and things like that, and also be in this 3D world and be a part of the 3D 5D shift that's happening right now. And you came here to be human. So remember that and allow yourself to anchor that energy in. But this is, it's a really, when I went through this, big time, I was completely blissed out. I was seeing colors that I had never seen before. I was seeing through objects that should be solid. I was my body felt really weird. I remember I was just like, I don't know how to like it was like my body felt really dense and I was like awkward and I was like, I don't know how to be in my body. Um, and it was because I was just it's such a high vibration and I was having issues anchoring it in and grounding it in. And that was, not everybody goes through this. There's a few that I've talked to that have a lot of those on the spiritual journey don't have to go through this the way that I did. Um, if you are going through that though, anchor it in, ground, get your feet in the earth, hug a tree, get some grounding crystals, do a visualization, ask for assistance from your guides or whoever, um, anchor it in, ground it in, because especially because it's so easy to just want to stay there as well, where you're like, but it just feels so good. Because that's the other thing too, is the earth realm is dense. It can feel, especially depending on your soul history and all of that, it can feel foreign to experience a lot of this, these fear vibration things. And so it's really, really dense for the soul to experience, especially if you aren't fully used to it at a soul level. And especially if you have the soul awareness of these other dimensions and experiences, things like anger and hate and sadness and grief don't live in those other experiences and those other dimensions. And so it can be so tempting to want to just be like, I'm done with this. I don't want to feel this anymore. I don't want to be in this dense place where people are, fighting amongst each other. I just want to go be where, you know, people like the souls get it and it's love and it's great and it's just loving. And to have the awareness that you came here to anchor that vibration into earth realm to help this shift. Literally, that's your purpose. Going on the spiritual journey, being a light worker, being a star seed, all of these other labels we give it, your purpose in a very basic nutshell is to anchor your soul vibration into the earth plane. That's why you're here. You're here to anchor that into earth, to help the earth shift, to help, yeah, just 3D to 5D, that shift. But, it's happening in a physical process. We've never done this before. It's really cool. It's a really fun experience to be a part of. And so remember that as well. Realizing oneness it's such this concept. It transcends the human ability to comprehend it. It really does. And so it's an experience thing. It's difficult to put into words. If you have other ways to put it into words, let me know in the comments below. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to articulate. It's very um you know, it's when separation doesn't exist. It's this understanding that like separation is a complete illusion. We're all a part of the same energy experiencing itself as different pieces, but it's an illusion. Like separation, it's not real. It's a perceived thing from the 3D. It's a perceived thing from the human viewpoint. It's not, you know, an ant and a tree and a human and a crystal and a bacteria and a virus are all parts of a creator being that split off and did a vibrational shift thing to experience itself in separation and to have experiences in separation. Like it's a very, very uh quantum topic. It's a quantum understanding that when you get to that awareness, coming back down into the human can be really an interesting integration process. I personally had to go through a divine storm and fall off of a freaking ladder. Like, the ladder slid. I talked about that in the Dark Night of the Soul video, but I literally had to come back down to earth. Literally, like I had to fall back down to earth and go through this whole healing journey to be able to integrate it. And so that's the thing too, not everybody is going to pick to go through that, because if if you can ease yourself into this awareness, I imagine that might be a little bit of easier journey, maybe not, I don't know. I just am coming from my perspective of my journey, and it was it was a doozy. But it's all part of the plan. That's what that's what my soul came to experience in a way. Was, I came here with that extremes type of personality to, I had to experience it this way and then anchor it in this way. And yeah, so, it's all good. I'm just saying, if you can bring it down and integrate it, you may not need to go through a massive physical experience that is painful from this level to integrate it in. So when you bounce out and you have these experiences, pull it back into the human self. That would be my biggest piece of advice. That was something that I learned, through pretty extreme experiences, that now I do that regularly. I ground my energy in on a regular basis, and I do all of these things, and so I can, now I can bounce out, I can experience that, I can pull it back in. But it's all beautiful. We all, go through our different versions of this and anchoring it in. And, I'll be honest, and it's kind of, it's dark from a human perspective. This is a phase where the dark night of the soul in this phase is probably the two main phases that a lot of light workers on the spiritual journey don't make it through. And I'm just going to put it that way. So do your best to remember that you came here to be human, and that's a really, really cool thing. And as much as it feels intense and all of these lower vibrations, you have the ability to access higher vibrations and to live from a place where those lower vibrations aren't as heavy. And so just allow yourself to continue to shift through that, because you're also helping the collective. You're also helping the earth have this experience that's really, really cool. And we're on the front lines of this awesome experience. I mean, we've got so much help around us all the time. All you have to do is ask for the help. And when you're realizing oneness, you will access those different energies and those different beings and things like that as well. And so, yeah, just anchor it in. That's my biggest thing. Anchor it in. You are an anchor. Being in a human vessel means you get to anchor that energy in. And that's part of why you're having these experiences. And it's really cool. And allow yourself to find the joy in being human. As cool as it is to come to the awareness and the understanding that you're a quantum being, it's also equally as cool that you get to be a human right now on Earth and go through what we're going through. So I'm gonna leave that here. Um, if you have any other experiences with this, definitely let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear about it. And I will see you on the next phase of awakening.